hope you had a good holiday weekend. We are actually still out of town right now as I'm recording this, so if the audio is a little bit wonky, that is why. I'm actually recording on my phone and my dog is napping right next to me, so you might hear him stretch or yawn or do something weird while we're doing this. But I wanted to make sure that I recorded an episode because I had a recent conversation and we were talking about house cleaning and trying to keep up with things, and who I was speaking with had little kids and just trying to stay on task with trying to keep a clean home and feeling like there's never a good time to clean, or it's like never ending when you just feel like you're cleaning all day long. And I was telling her about my daily 7 home routine, and this is what has been such a huge standard for keeping our home clean. And I want to bring that back around. So if you're new to the podcast, then you can be introduced to it. And if you have been around for a while, then this is just another reminder to make sure you implement this if you have not yet, and why I actually prefer this method for a home cleaning routine versus those like zone cleaning methods that you hear about a lot. And I wanted to share with you why I actually don't do zone cleaning, but what we can do instead. So if you have tried zone cleaning in the past and you feel like you can't keep up with a home routine, then try it this way, because I can guarantee it is very different. And this has been what has helped me stay consistent when I cannot just stay consistent with a zone cleaning routine. This is what has kind of saved our house from just being a mess all the time. So I want to share that with you today, and we will get started. Are you ready to stop the chaos, the stress, the overwhelm that's filling your life? I'm Renae Matt, and together you and I are going to build simple routines that are going to change your life. When you put these habits into practice, you're going to be able to organize your life in a way where you can be there for your family, pay off your debt, save money, your house can stay organized, you don't have to stress about what's for dinner, and you still get time for yourself. So without further ado, let's get started. Welcome to the Routine Advantage podcast. So as we're talking about this, if you are not familiar with zone cleaning, from what I have tried in the past and what I've heard other people doing, basically zone cleaning is when you break your house up into different zones, just how it sounds, and then you rotate and you do different zones each week. What I was running into when I was trying to do zone cleaning, or maybe it's not every week, maybe it's every day you do something different. So let's say on Mondays you do the living room, on Tuesdays you do the bathrooms, on Wednesdays you do the kitchen, and you just break it up, and then you do laundry on a different day, all these different things. You can break it up however you want. That is essentially what zone cleaning is. But what I was running into is that when you break it all up like that, it felt like certain things weren't getting clean often enough. So it's like, do you really want to only be wiping down the bathrooms once a week? Do you really want to only be cleaning up the living room once a week? It was feeling like I was focusing on zones, but then I was still having a specific routine that I was duplicating each day, and it just felt like it was becoming a lot more work than it needed to be. And I had a hard time sticking to the zones because I would trail off of those zones to make sure that the house stayed clean, because I didn't want clean bathrooms when the rest of the house felt like it was falling apart, or I didn't want just a clean living room when I felt like the bathrooms were disgusting. Like, it was really hard to stick to my zones and make it successful. And then when life happens and things do get kind of busy, one zone would be skipped. Well, then if you end up skipping that zone on that day, then you either need to double up somewhere else, and that can be really hard if you feel like your life is very full and you have a hard time fitting things into your schedule anyway. But not only that, then if you end up skipping it altogether, then you have 2 weeks before, the bathrooms get cleaned. And that's what I kept running into, is I liked the idea of zone cleaning, but it just didn't work for how I wanted our house to feel and how life just happens to be. And over time, I ended up just realizing that it was piling up mountains of laundry. It was creating rooms that were messy more often than not. And I just never felt satisfied with a clean home. So what I ended up doing was, it was kind of unintentional, but what I ended up doing was just selecting the high points on what I really wanted done. And I just consistently did those few things every day and over and over. And over time, I started learning what made more sense and what was faster, what was more efficient, what flowed better, what made me more consistent with my routine. And this became my daily 7 home routine. And I will share with you some episodes that you can go back and listen to get even more in depth for this routine. But I wanted to share, that is why the zone cleaning hasn't worked for me. So if you have tried that and you feel like I just can't keep a clean home, I've tried doing home cleaning routines and I can't stick to them. I don't know, something's wrong with me. It is not that something is wrong with you. It's not that you can't do this. It's that you haven't found a routine that works well for your life and for maybe how your brain works. And there's a lot of different things that we do that work for us or work for someone else and not another person. There's so many different ways that we can do different things, but we're all unique and different, and sometimes our routines also need to be unique and different. So if zone cleaning works amazing for your best friend, but you've had a hard time sticking to it, it's not because you are a failure in any way or that you just can't do that. It's that you might just need a different system. And when I found that the daily 7 home routine was the only thing that I was able to stick to, and once I have kind of established it, or now that I have established it and I have stayed consistent with it, we can keep our home very tidy or clean to our standards every day. And if it starts feeling like I'm too tired or things are kind of unraveling, I know that I can just do my daily 7 home routine in 20 to 30 minutes and everything feels reset and I feel really good. And even if I am super unmotivated that day and I'm just not feeling it, I can just do that routine and it kind of jumpstarts a better mood, and it keeps our home where at a point where we could have company stop by at any time and we're not going to panic. We're not going to be super embarrassed and afraid to open the door, where that would have been the case before, because we would let things go. And if somebody was to drop by unexpectedly, I would have been totally devastated because I would have been so embarrassed. And not that it was even trashed, it was just not to the standards that I wanted. And this has eliminated the need to feel like everything had to be deep cleaned before anybody could come over. And it just has alleviated a lot of stress when it comes to keeping a clean home. So if you have not listened to any of my previous episodes on a daily 7 home routine, I do have an episode that will walk you all the way through it and it'll go through the details. It is episode 5, and that is building your daily 7 home routine. And as a quick overview of basically what it is that you are going to take a list of everything you do in your home, you write out your list, and then once you go through those, you select up to 7 items that you want to do every day. And I don't want you going more than 7. You can do less if 7 seems like a lot. And you can start with just, 3 to 5 if you need to. But what you're going to do is you are just going to commit to doing those things every day. And the key is to do them in the same order as quickly as you possibly can. And what this is doing is it's starting to create a routine that becomes automatic. You have a trigger task where you start one thing. So for instance, I actually let me take a look here. In episode 23, I walk you through my personal home cleaning routine so that if you don't know where to start, you can totally just copy mine and see how it goes for you and test it and then just tweak it where you need to make it your own. But basically, you have a trigger task, something that like jump starts your routine every time. So you always have the same trigger task. And this isn't because it needs to be so perfect and you can't change anything, but what it's doing is it's triggering that response in your brain to just start your routine without having to think about it so much. In the beginning, you're going to have to learn how to do it best, and you might have to try your routine a few different ways to learn what is most efficient, what feels the most natural, what flows the best. But once you find the flow of these tasks, you're going to keep repeating them the same way over and over. So that first task that you do becomes that trigger task, and it's going to launch you into your routine. And it just takes away so much stress of trying to keep your home clean. And when you're selecting your priority tasks to do every day, you pick what is most important to you. So if that means straightening up your living room, then that goes on there. If that means wiping down the bathrooms so you don't have grimy bathrooms, then that goes on there. And like I said, I walk you through my whole routine on episode 23 so you can get an example of how to do this and see if it works for you. But once you start doing this and you repeat it, maybe it's not every day, maybe it's every other day, maybe it's only 3 times a week, but the more you do it, the faster you will become, and the easier it will be to maintain your level of cleanliness in your home. Now, the other thing is, as you are creating your home routine, then you might be thinking, okay, we have that big long list of things to do. And just because I selected my priorities to do every day, that doesn't mean that all this other stuff on my list doesn't need to be done. I still need to find a time to do that. And we have taken care of that. So that is where your annual task list comes into play. And just because it's an annual task list, that doesn't matter. You can do things on there that are, weekly or monthly if you need to. But basically, you have your primary home tasks. This is your daily 7 home routine. And then on your annual task list is all the other stuff. So that might be washing your windows, and maybe it's mopping your floors if that's not on your priority list. You need to do that once a week or maybe once a month if they don't get very dirty. I don't know what your situation is, but it's all those additional things. It's wiping down the walls and the baseboards and, checking, cleaning the ceiling fans. All those other types of things are on your annual task list, and then you break it down into a way to actually get those things done as your priority tasks for the week. And then those fall into line when you are planning out your week so that you know where you can do those things and where you actually have time for them, so that you don't get stressed about trying to get all these additional tasks done before you get your daily 7 home routine done. When you focus on your daily 7 home routine, you have this sense of accomplishment. Your home feels like home. It feels like a place you can relax. You're not stressing about all these little things that need to be done. You can relax in a nice, clean home that feels really good to you. And then that will open up more space and time and less stress to continue and do the additional tasks sometime in your week when it makes a little bit more sense. So I do have several episodes that go over all of these different things, but a few that are going to walk you through all of this, just so you can go back and look at these if you have not listened to them yet, is number 5 again, is creating your daily 7 home routine. Episode 23 is where you can copy my daily 7 home routine. Episode 38 is talking about that trigger task and how you can build that trigger task into your routine. And episode 48 is creating your annual task list so that you can get some stuff done without feeling overwhelmed. And those are going to be super helpful for you if you have tried zone cleaning and it's just not your thing. Trying a daily 7 home routine could just completely change the game for you. And it might be the one thing that you just stick to because it is so fantastic. This is actually the routine that most people, if they are listening to our podcast and they have a favorite routine, I've heard so many people say that the daily 7 home routine is their absolute favorite because it is just simple, but yet really effective. And it's easy to maintain that consistency with it, even if you struggle maintaining consistency with any other routine. And it just makes your house feel like home. Your home should not be a place that stresses you out. This is a way to make your home feel like home, make it be somewhere where you can relax and not stress you out about all the different things that need to be done. Because when we're taking care of homes, there is a lot of stuff to do, but we can make it simpler by having an efficient system in place that can help keep us on track. So hopefully that was helpful for you. I know this was kind of a little bit of a different episode where I'm just kind of having almost more of a conversation with you rather than giving you really tactical tips. But during that recent conversation, I just wanted to reiterate on the podcast that if you are struggling with this or you feel like you are spending so much time trying to keep a clean house, that there is an easier way and you can do this in 20 to 30 minutes a day to maintain your home in a way that you can simplify your life. We don't want to be spending all day long just cleaning and trying to keep up with things. There's a way to simplify it so that we can really have a home that feels clean, but also be enjoying the rest of our days and enjoying time with family, especially if you do have those little kids that are running around. You want to make sure that you can spend time with them and not feel like you're just cleaning all the time. So we need to open up space in our days for other things, and this is the best way that I have found to be able to do that. So hopefully you found this really helpful, and I would love to hear from you. If you have not left a review for the podcast yet, I would be super, super grateful. You can go to any podcast app that you're listening on. If it allows you to write a review, I would love to see a written review and actually hear from you. You can also do an audio review at speakpipe.com/theroutineadvantagepodcast. And no matter which way you choose, I would love to hear from you. Did you love that episode or learn something useful? If so, would you do me a huge favor? My goal is to grow this podcast and help as many women as I can break free from the overwhelm so they can truly enjoy their life. The best way for me to do this is for you to leave a 5-star written review on your podcast app and to share this episode with a friend or in your Instagram stories. I appreciate you being here. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you on the next episode. Take care.